The most exciting thing about sales is you can be in it a long time. And if you get bored, just go to another industry and it keeps things interesting. Hi, I'm Byron Lindsay and I've been in sales for a number of years. And the beautiful thing about it is I've been in sales training, I've started companies, but everything I've pretty much ever done is focused primarily around sales and customer service and business consulting. And the thing that I've noticed the most is we all have egos, both the sales rep, the customer service, everybody has an ego. And what we don't realize is this: we don't know what we don't know, and they don't know what they don't know. And I'm sure you've all heard it, just like you see right here, you don't know what you don't know. And that is key for you to find success as you go through any career, is realize you don't know everything and you can't be expected to know everything. And as salespeople, our ego likes us. I mean, it's funny, the person that's helping me produce this video, we were talking about, I asked if she had ever heard the comment, the statement. She said, absolutely. And she said she hated it. So I asked her why, and her first thing was, I got an ego. I don't like admitting I don't know something. Well, let me give you a hint. If you'll just admit it and let your customer educate you on something you don't know, guess what? Now you do know. And no longer do you have to say you don't. But here's where so many representatives mess themselves up. They want to act like they know. They go through the whole sales process. It gets to the end. They tell them the price, and the customer says, this won't work. And then they're going to find out real quickly that you have no idea what it is that they do or what it is they're trying to accomplish. And boy, do you look bad at that moment. So here's my note to you. If you don't know, ask. And that brings me to the next subject. I'm a sales trainer. I'm a business consultant. I work with people, they bring me in. And here's what normally happens. They're going to educate me. They're going to give me all the ideas. They're going to tell me what's going on in their company. And then I'm going to digest it and ask myself a few questions. What have I got to do to help them improve? What have I got to do to make them better? Now, once I start rolling out my processes, my methods and procedures and processes, do you think they're just going to roll over and play dead? No, they always push back. Same thing with a salesperson. Nobody does anything wrong on purpose. If they didn't think they were doing it right, they would change it. But what happens is they can't identify what's broken. So where I come in is I look at it without any glass ceiling. I don't put any perspective into anything. I look at it like I'm an idiot. And then from there, I figure out what's going to make this thing work, and I build from there. So that brings us to a point when you're working with an organization, be it a salesperson or anything. You're at a status of where you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. It's so funny, if you go back in time and you look at Henry Ford once said, if I'd asked my customer what they wanted, it would have been, they want a faster horse. What he did was create a whole new industry. He did so many things differently, but he took it outside of someone who at one point, if they raised horses that were real fast, they were unconsciously competent. They knew what they were doing. But the market changed. No one rides horses anymore except for pleasure, or they're doing rodeo. So what I'm wanting you to realize is this: we do things a certain way. We don't realize we're doing it wrong, and you are unconsciously incompetent. Now, once I come into an organization and start pointing things out, you're going to become consciously incompetent. In other words, you're still going to do it wrong. You're going to make the mistakes, but you're going to be more conscious about it. Just like the person I was talking to earlier, what she said, she goes, Byron, over time I've gotten better when they point it out. Now I can identify that I'm not doing it correctly. Well, guess what? That's when you're consciously incompetent. In other words, you're still doing it wrong. You're not doing it as well as you could, but you're aware of it. So now you can fix it. It's the old saying, if you don't know what the problem is, you can't fix it. That's what this is, consciously incompetent. Now, the next stage you're going to get to is you become consciously competent. In other words, you're doing it right, but it's mechanical. It's not a natural flow. So when you're on a sales call, and this is where I always laugh when companies go, hey, we don't do scripts. I hate scripts. It sounds mechanical. It sounds, like I'm reading. Of course it does. You're going through a step to learn how to flow through something, and you're not fluid with it. It takes time. I can't give you a piece of paper and say, hey, read this and you're going to be great. Have you ever heard of the words rehearsal? Think about it. Tom Cruise makes $20 million to do a film. How many times do you think they rehearse scenes? A lot. And he does some very complex scenes. But what I'm wanting you to realize is everybody has to rehearse. That's when you're being consciously competent. And once that director realizes that you're flowing through it fluidly, you are now what's better known as unconsciously competent. You are very good at it. If you watch it, think about it, you pick out your favorite college team, if you like football at all, and you look at that quarterback. Let's look at some that have won the Heisman. What's that little guy? He won the Heisman. I mean, he was an incredible, can't remember his name, but either way, it's not relevant. Wins the Heisman just a few years ago, went to the Cleveland Browns and failed miserably. Part of it was drinking. Part of it was he just couldn't get the hang of professional football. He was no longer unconsciously competent because he was at a higher level of game. He was at a place where people were so much better than him. But in college, he was unconsciously competent. And this is where it brings the final point. Whenever you reach to be the best of the best at what you do, the moment that you get there, and a lot of people who have worked with me always say, Byron, you never let me stay on the rung. Absolutely not. Once you become unconsciously competent, I want you to ask yourself one question. What have I got to do to get better? What is it that I can do to make it more effective? What can I do to make things more efficient? How in the world, ladies and gentlemen, if you think back in the history of America, if you went back to the 1900s today, you wouldn't have tablets, you wouldn't have cell phones, you wouldn't have TVs, you wouldn't have a lot of things that are available today. And that all came through going through this cycle of being unconsciously incompetent, consciously incompetent, consciously competent, and unconsciously competent. And then you start the cycle all over again by asking yourself one simple question. What do I have to do to get better? You're not competing against your competition. You're competing against you. If you're going to get better at what you do, you focus on you and do what you need to do to get better and quit giving yourself excuses to fail. Reach out, reach inside yourself and realize unless you're the best of the best of the best, you can always get better. I hope this video's helped you. I hope you can share it with your friends and give them some enlightenment. If you got questions, please reach out to me at byronlindsay.com. Just go up to the Contact Us and send me an email and I'll reach out to you. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day.